In this video, I'm going to cover 5 reasons to get the Zoom L-12. Check it out. What's up? My name is Matthew Stratton. I like to help ambitious individuals start and continue to create music. On this channel, I do setup videos, tutorials, and overviews about musical gear. If you're new here, consider subscribing. So I've owned the Zoom L-12 for a while now, so I'm just going to cover a few reasons why I think that you might think that this is a cool item to get. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. So here's the Zoom LiveTrak L-12. So the first thing I want to talk about is it has 5 different headphone outputs, and each of these 5 different outputs can have its own separate mix. So let me explain what this means a little bit more in depth. So I have tracks 1 through 12. Now, when this fader mode button is clicked on master, it's going to control the master mix, okay? And the master mix goes out right here through the master channel or your master fader. So let's go a little bit deeper into this. You have your master fader, you got your master outputs. And then over here in your monitor out, you have your outputs here. And then you got your 5 different headphone outputs. Now, each of your headphone outputs could be either the master mix or it could be its own output. So when I have this button pushed in, this is the A mix or the A headphone out, okay? When I tap this button here that says A, I can adjust all these faders to how I want them, and that individual mix is going to come out of headphone jack A. Now when I push B, I can do a separate mix, send that out of headphone B, and then the same for C, D, and E. So therefore all these mixes are separate for each one of these headphone outputs. So there you go, you get 5 different headphone output mixes. Okay, so reason number 2 is there is a built-in effects channel on the Zoom L-12. Right here is your effects channel. So this is your effects return. So I can bring this up to 0 or wherever I want it. And then if you look over here, I can select what channel I need right here. So if I wanted to put effects on track 1, I would need to select track 1. You can see that's lit up there. And then I can turn up the send effects. Okay, and then you'll notice right here, we're actually getting an effect signal into here, and then that effect signal is going to go into your master. Now, I will say that the effects are global, as in you only get one effect that you can choose from here, and that effect goes across the board. So whatever send that you go to is going to be on that same effect. You can't have different effects on different tracks. Now, I will say that you can adjust the fader for each of the individual mixes A through E. So the effects on the master is on 0. When I pick A, it's on 0 here, but I could turn it down. So when I go back to master, it's going to be up here. When I go back to A, the effects are going to be down here. So for example, if you have your vocalist on A and they want a little bit of reverb in their headphones for their, while they're singing or what have you, you can turn up the effects right there and they can have that within their headphones. And, you're good to go in that regard. The third reason why you should have the Zoom L-12 is you get 9 different scene modes. Let me show you what I mean. If you come over here, you have your scene section. So it's turned on, you can turn it off, you can turn it on right there. But you'll look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay, in the numeric panel here. So I can save these fader positions into a scene. All right, so for example, if I was using the L-12 Live and I was playing 9 different songs, I can have different mixes for each one of those songs, and all I would need to do is save those mixes in here and recall them as I needed. So let me show you what I mean. If I want to save this particular configuration, I would turn this on, I would push save, and I would save it into 1. Now, since these aren't blinking, you can see I already have 1 and 2 saved in there. So let me go ahead and save it on the 3. Boom. So now I have that on 3. Now if I want to recall scene 1 or 2, I would push recall and select scene or whatever scene that I want. And then it goes over to that scene. All my faders are adjusted. And you can see the fader position adjust. So let me recall 2. Watch the fader positions. Now the fader positions are all different. I can recall 3. And that's going to bring me back to where we were. And if you're finding value in this, remember to smash the like button. It really helps the channel and it helps this video get seen by those who may need this information. Now, the fourth reason why you should have the Zoom L-12 is that it records directly to the SD card. So on the back of the Zoom L-12, there's a spot for an SD card. You could put your SD card in there and you could record straight onto there. And when you're using the SD card, you can actually use 44.1K, 48K, or 96 kilohertz sample rate. All right. And you can record that right onto the SD card. And when you use that recorder, you can actually record all the different tracks separately, not only the master mix, but all the separate tracks. Now, let me show you what I mean. If you look at the Zoom L-12 here, the first track is on record, and that's indicated by the red button. So I'm actually recording onto track 1 right now, directly onto the SD card. And you can see that it's recording. All right, the time's going up. I've been recording for 18 minutes. Over here on track 9 and 10, I'm recording as well. And right here on the master fader, I'm actually recording. So in the future, when I take the SD card out of the L-12 and put it into my computer, I'm going to have track 1 in its own WAV file. I'm going to have track 9 and 10 in its own WAV file, and I'm going to have the master track in its own WAV file. And you can do that with all the tracks that you have armed. You can have all 12 tracks and the master track being recorded, or you could just record the master track. It's up to you what tracks you want to record. You just need to arm it with the arm button here. For most of my YouTube videos, I'm using the Zoom L-12, and it works out great. I can put my drum machines in here. So what I usually do is I put a microphone here, and then I'll put, my MPC live into 9 and 10 and record on 9 and 10. And then I can put, for example, if I'm using another synthesizer, I could put the other synth on 11 and 12 and record into there. And if I'm using a guitar, I can put the high Z on. Okay, there's a button here for high Z. I can record right into that. So I can have my microphone, my guitar, MPC live, my synth, and then I can put any other mono synths over here that I'm recording. And it works out pretty well. And I can do live jams that way, and I can record my MPC tutorials that way, and it works out just fine. The fifth reason why you should get the Zoom L-12 is a multi-track audio interface. That means you could put a USB cable in the back of this, plug that into your computer, and it's going to show up within your computer as 12 individual tracks plus a master fader. So therefore, you're going to have 14 tracks within your software. And in addition to that, you can record it to your SD card at the exact same time. Now, I do have to mention, if you're using it as an audio interface, the sample rate is 44.1K. All right, just so you know. But if you're recording to the SD card on its own, the sample rate is 96K. You can also pick 44.1 or 48K when you're recording to the SD card, but you can go up to 96K. Now, I do need to mention, when you're recording onto the SD card or when you're using it as an audio interface, all the inputs are pre-EQ and pre-fader, pre-effects, etc. What that means is when you plug in your microphone, you're recording your microphone according to your gain signal and whatever amount of compression you have. Nothing underneath that is going to affect what gets recorded on your SD card or within your software. Now, I'm going to say this one more time because I've had questions about this on my channel. When you're recording to your SD card, your inputs here, all these inputs, only include your gain level, so whatever I adjust the gain to, and your compressor. Therefore, if you select here and do EQing on here, and you send this to effects, none of that's going to get recorded onto track 1 on the SD card. Now, if you did want to record effects onto track 1, what you would need to do is channel that through your master fader, okay, and then turn your effects return up. And therefore, the only tracks that are going to have effects on it are tracks 13 and 14, which is your master fader. Now, I do need to mention one other thing. When you're using this as an audio interface, if you want to monitor what's going on inside of the computer, let's say you're using synthesizers in your computer, you do need to use either track 9 and 10 or 11 and 12 as a USB return. Therefore, you do lose, a stereo channel if you want to monitor what's going on within your software. So there you have it, 5 reasons to own the Zoom L-12. Click the tapper screen over here. It's going to take you to a playlist so you can catch up with more videos like this one. Remember to subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so you get notified when I come out with new videos. My name is Matthew. Continue creating music, and we'll talk soon.